Fred White is here. How's it going, Fred?
How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Thanks for doing this. It's a little bit tricky doing it hosting solo. So
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I know you're doing a pretty good job of it.
thank you. Fred, before we get going, you and Dave have started y'all Celebrate 98 series. So just talk a little bit about that and what y'all have been working on with that so far.
Yeah, well, we have a thing called Celebrate 98. We're gonna interview some guys, kind of tell our own stories. It's an opportunity to kind of get to know those guys on a different level. And it's 25 years removed, man. A lot of things have happened during that time period, and some of our fans want to know where our guys are. I mean, even if they don't, we're gonna tell our story the way we want to tell it. So, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Doing a little reminiscing myself, so I gotta. You're gonna laugh on this. So, I was significantly humbled last week because I'm a Grizzly fan, and they did all that chirping and got bounced out in the first round, and it reminded me specifically of a '99 game that y'all played, and it was the '99 game against Georgia. If I remember correctly, they did a lot of chirping the week up to their visit to Neyland Stadium. And didn't they stomp on the tee that Saturday before y'all blew them out?
Yeah, they did. They did. They almost got beat up right there in the middle of the field too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When we found we were on our way back into the locker room for pregame, and Sean Ellis is livid. Like, man, they stepping on our tee, and he turns around and he's running back out to the and everybody's coming behind him. They're trying to stop us from coming out. Like, man, we're not taking this in. So when we went in the locker room, they'd already talked trash all week. We already knew what we were going to do to them. I mean, they just turned up that level of ass whipping up to a whole nother lot. It was already on 9.5, maybe 8. May have been about an 8 before the game started. But when they stopped on the tee, they turned it up to about 15. And we want to make sure they knew. Don't ever come in our stadium and do no shit like that. Excuse my language, but I'm just saying.
Oh Lord. Hey, it's I was young at the time, but I remember that specifically because it seemed like y'all were more than willing to. I know Fulmer wasn't the biggest run up the score guy, but it seemed like y'all were a little more than willing to put on a few extra points on Georgia.
Absolutely, we wanted everybody to score. I mean, you don't come in our house and act like that on our football field. Hey, man, you crazy. You lost your mind.
Was Georgia were they the what I would say the Grizzlies or the Bengals at that time in the SEC? Were they the ones that did the most chirping without any wins, without any championships to back it up?
They didn't talk much to us because they couldn't beat us. So I mean, Florida was the only team that really talked the trash like that. I mean, Kentucky, everybody kind of talked a little bit of trash, but they knew when we rolled up in the stadium. They knew when they said Tennessee on your schedule, you knew what was coming. You knew defensively, we were gonna come after you. I mean, we weren't changing what we were doing for anybody. Everybody who played us knew you're gonna play man-to-man coverage, and we're gonna blitz zero man, and it's my man against your man. You gotta beat us. So knowing that coming into your game, you already know you can talk trash all you want to. Everybody talks trash until you get punched in the mouth. That's it. You got a game plan too until you get punched in the mouth. And we were coming. I like the fact that Chief, one of my teammates sent me, Billy Ratliff sent me we wear these sleeves and they got the plays on there, right? Mm-hmm. He sent me one from 1999. And I'm looking at the play call list and I'm thinking, man, we blitzed the crap out of them. Like literally every last call except for me. It was 12, maybe 15 calls on that sheet. Only 2 of them were zone. Everything else was man-to-man, and it was blitz. We were getting after somebody. And it just made me realize, man, we blitzed the crap out of everybody. We didn't care who you were.
Yeah. It's funny. When Bruce Pearl got hired at Tennessee 15 years ago, and he introduced that 2-2-1 press that he would do constantly. He basically was like, we're basically just going to do what John Chavis does in football. And we're going to do that in basketball now.
Yeah. We're going to put pressure on you all game and see what happens.
Yeah. So I love reminiscing, so I want to stick on 98 because I want to get to a couple of news stories this week, but I want to reminisce a little more looking back during that time. You guys were in the secondary. They had to put a lot of faith in y'all, right? Because they put y'all on islands. They were like, look, we're going to blitz, and we just need y'all to be able to hold your own no matter what.
Absolutely. Well, for one, one of the things that we did against every team, they knew we were going to be man-to-man. They knew we were going to blitz and break. Hey, going into that season, though, we were considered the weak link into 98 season. And 99 was, I guess, a little bit different. So we had leadership because we had 3 guys coming back. But in 98, all the reports, I wish somebody could go back, and there's a Knoxville News Sentinel celebration for the 1998 team as well coming up. And I just wanted to pull out some of the newspapers they had before the season started. Not the ones that we won it and all that type of stuff. I want to see the ones that showed what they said about us, like the evaluations that they gave us. And we were the weak link on defense. Our defensive line and linebackers were the strength, and the weakness was the defensive backs. I still remember. I still have one of those newspapers somewhere in there as a clipping, but that was something major for that 98 season that we remembered. I remember Dion grabbing the newspaper and walking in the locker room, in the meeting room, was like, y'all see this? It's like, okay, we're going to show them. Okay.
Yeah, y'all very quickly became a strength. And then 98 and 99, y'all were strength both years.
Yeah.
Looking back on 98, Dave and I were talking recently because we did a thing on like the most clutch of all in history. And I tried to go beyond the quarterbacks with that because it's so easy to judge or not judge with them. But who would you say was the most clutch player on y'all's team that year? I mean, like when outside of T. Martin, when things were really working against you guys, you just knew this person was going to make a play to kind of change the tone of the game.
I'm going to go real, not even offense or defense. The most clutch player on our squad, man, I'm going to go with Jeff Hall. I'm sorry.
Jeff Hall. I mean, those two field goals.
He made a field goal in Syracuse with the time running out to win the game. He made a field goal to win the game against Florida. Made a field goal in the national championship game. Missed one, but made one when it counted, when we needed it the most. So I'm going to go with our kicker. The kickers don't get a lot of love. I got a lot of love for my teammate, Jeff Hall. So I'm going to go with Jeff Hall being the most clutch because when we needed him, he did his job. And it was clutch. We needed it. It was in the clutch. Absolutely.
It's funny you bring up that because it's one of the most unique things to me. I think y'all are still the only team I know that elected your kicker one of your captains that year.
Yeah.
And because y'all made
It
Jeff
says
Hall
a lot about him. Says a lot about him. He's a good person, good player. Jeff came to work when he came to work, It's a great character. Was always on time. One of the top people on the team when it comes to character and integrity, those type of things. Still is. You don't make a kicker one of your captains unless he's a stellar person, and he was. He was a very great teammate to have, and still is to this day. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Jeff Hall being our most clutch.
Okay. Mr. Jones brings up the guy I was going to bring up, which was Peerless Price, because I just always felt Peerless. It seemed like every Peerless touchdown was against a ranked team to change the lead in a game that year.
Mm-hmm. Peerless was clutch too. He was. I'm gonna go with Jeff simply because Peerless needed T to get the ball to him, and he needed to get open. Right.
Right.
All Jeff had to do was put the ball through the uprights. And when he put the ball through the uprights, that was big for us. We never saw a time – I never thought any time where when he was going on the field to kick that we were going to miss the kick. Never thought that. I thought it was going to be automatic almost every time.
Yeah, and that Florida
I can't even remember ones I can't remember kicks that he actually missed. I don't know how many he actually missed. I couldn't recall. But I know when he went on the football field, we knew that he was going to be He was going to get us 3 points. That's what we felt.
Yeah, I've actually made the argument in the past because everybody talks about the Sterner fumble. I'm like, y'all know that Tennessee still could have gotten the ball back without the fumble, and they had Jeff Hall and were only down by 2. So y'all still might have won that game.
It's possible. All we had to do was get down the field to get in field goal range. If we were in field goal range, I'm putting my money on Jeff Hall.
Yeah, particularly if the game's on the line.
Yeah,